Kalle Sauerland, the busiest man in boxing, it would seem, at this moment. Fight week is in Bolton, world title fight. What better place to start? How you doing? Talk us about Bolton.
I'm trying to think of similar fight weeks where we've had a Friday and a Saturday in the same country. We've had them in different countries, sort of split the team up, but the fact they're so close to each other means I can do both. So it's it's one. What was it today? Public workout, Eubank in Manchester, straight off afterwards to the press conference in Bolton, Lyndon Arthur. Back to Manchester now, then back tomorrow for the weigh-in, Lyndon Arthur, then back again to Manchester for the press conference. Manchester weigh-in on Friday morning or Friday lunchtime, and then obviously the big fight live on Channel 5 on Friday night with Lyndon Arthur for the light heavyweight championship of the world, and then back to Manchester to watch Eubank Exact Sweet Revenge live on Sky Sports box office. So an interesting week.
Taking in the sights.
Lucky it was a bank holiday weekend, so I'm fully recharged and ready to go.
Taking in the sights of the north.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the north, eh?
Talk about Lyndon Arthur first, in a lineal narrative. Talk about Lyndon Arthur first. This is a fight he was supposed to have some months ago, frustratingly.
Even more confusing, isn't it?
Exactly. It fell through at the last minute, no fault of his own. Yeah. Now he's got to regroup and do it again.
I don't think that will have a direct bearing on the fight for either of them. I think, they'll both be very happy that they can still box for that vacant IBO light heavyweight world championship. So I don't read too much into that. What I do think that I think it will favour Lyndon is that he got a fight in. It was last minute. He got the fight in. The fight still ended at camp, so Suarez would have gone through that camp, no fight at the end of it. It's not a good place for a fighter to be. So will he go overtrained into this? I don't know. We will see. 17 knockouts in 18 fights. Yeah, I mean, with South Americans, you get those sort of records and they mean absolutely nothing. With Suarez, I've seen quite a few of the knockouts, and of course they're not against world champions, but at the same time you've got to get your man out there. He's done it 17 times out on 18 occasions, so it's impressive. It's a big ask, but it's an ask that he's going to do on free-to-air television. So if you're going to do an ask in boxing, why not do it in front of millions of viewers? So I think that's the cherry on the cake, isn't it, really? And it's all set up for a heroic night for British boxing and a massive audience. It's all there to take. So I just want him so much to take that opportunity. But we've done what we can do now. Weigh in, safe fight, and hopefully something heroic comes out of it for us.
Do you think it's hard for him, and is it hard for yourself to not try and get distracted? The light heavyweight division may be the most stacked, certainly domestically.
I think that's more a problem for me and not for him. So I look at it, of course, and think, this could lead to this, this could lead to that. And it's a really happening division. You see the likes, the Joshua Buatsi, Aziz fight's a great fight. Smith taking on Viterbi was a great fight. That obviously that Yard third fight, the decider, is a big fight out there as well. But there's lots of names that we mentioned there. It's a happening division. He won't be thinking about that. I'm pretty sure about that. Pat Barrett is an experienced man. He'll know where he's got his guy, and his focus has to be on showing us more than a glimpse of the real Lyndon, of the full Lyndon, because the full Lyndon is right up there. In my opinion, okay, I'm slightly biased, but in my opinion, on his day, he's the best light heavyweight in the world. He can do everything. But we've seen it too much in glimpses, we've got to see that from the opening bell would be, of course, the absolute dream, but even if it's from the second round, give him a round. I'm watching for a round but he's too passive for me often in the early stages of fights. He's got to come in there and take charge. It's a world title fight. By the way, we've seen recently, McGregor, against Robles was a great fight. These IBO world champions, they throw up great fights. But McGregor also will look back at that and see parts of that fight where yeah, you know, could have done that differently.
Yeah.
And I don't want a situation like that. We've had that last month, and this month's got to be different. And you know, I think Lyndon, more experienced, obviously the big yard fights, and he's had that big occasion before, but now it's on Channel 5, pressure's there, but I think behind my man, he's going to do the job.
As well documented a moment ago, Friday night goes into Saturday. Repeat or revenge, or as Chris Eubank Jr. bills it,
revenge or revenge.
Revenge or revenge.
Revenge or revenge. There's no repeats here. No, it's it's a fascinating fight, and you can look at it from a Liam Smith perspective. You know, he can tell us all day long. You know, he's going to go in there and knock him out in the 4th round. That was his mindset. No, his mindset was he does what he does best, and that's box and get that points victory. You know, that was going to be their game plan. Their game plan was not to go in there and take him out. Just not buying that. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. But either way, he did that. So his mindset will be very different to the approach he takes in this fight, because he'll think, right, well, it's the 5th round now. I'm going to go and I'm going to take off, or I'm going to start where I left things. And he's going to have a very interesting mindset going into that. Whereas Junior, you know, he's coming from something that he's never experienced before, and I think it's put him into a camp that he's never seen before. You know, he went off to Vegas. He got criticised a lot for sort of the home camp in Brighton last time. He's gone to Vegas. That sounds really nice and glamorous, but believe me, in a camp, it's a different type of place. It was, you know, I went out and saw him out there. It was 47 degrees. I'm like, how the hell are you doing this? He goes, I just like it here. I like going to these gyms, and you know, he seems so in a good place. And you know, the addition of a whole team. You know, we're talking about Eubank, but really it's a team around him. It's the first time in his career that he's going to have a team like that in a big fight. He worked together with Alan Booth many moons ago, but really it's always been he was senior, later than Roy Jones, both legends of the sports, but individuals, total individuals. Now he's got a team around him, and I see a lot of the comments saying, "Oh, well, it's very late and this, that." And, well, he's not brought them in to teach him boxing. He's brought them in to give him that environment, to give him that strategy. That thought out strategy, not between him and one other individual, but a team around it. And I think that's a good place where he's going to be at on Saturday. You know, I think he's he might not do this, but he's an old campaigner now. He knows his boxing. He's known his boxing probably since day one of his pro career, given his childhood. But he's done it himself now. You know, he's had to pick himself up here. And he looks terrific. I could say he looks terrific before every fight, but he also looks like a man who's hell bent on revenge. And I believed before the first fight he'd win, and I'm even more confident this time.
Same question, I guess, as a moment ago before Lyndon Arthur. How difficult is it not to get distracted from potential other fights if he gets past this one? There's a couple of names in particular that we both know that will forever circulate around Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be totally honest, we haven't had any discussions. I spoke to Junior when I was over in Vegas, and I said, look, should we talk about any names that I should be focusing on? At the end of the day, that is my job. And Junior is one of those guys that straight off the fight, well, what's next? Yeah. But unfortunately, if you ask me now after the fight, I won't be in a good place because, there's, some flirtations around a Kell Brook fight. There's obviously that Conor Benn situation, which we're all monitoring closely. I do believe it's a fight that will get made. But it's a question of when, But let's get past Saturday first. That's the big part here.
The next fight I want to move on to isn't one of our own. It's It's a fight that has a serious implication for one of our own, though. Jay Opetaia is taking a rematch against Mairis Briedis if he gets past Jordan Thompson. There is a fight there. Just how much interest? Great fight, by the way. Great fight.
Jordan Thompson, fantastic talent. I actually tried to sign him a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, wasn't able to. We weren't able to close the deal. Sometimes you don't get them, but we get on very well. And he felt that another journey was the right thing at the time, but still have a huge amount of respect. He's done a lot of sparring with Mairis, and spoke to Mairis this week, and Mairis is picking Thompson. So Mairis is picking Jordan Thompson, and he obviously knows Opetaia in and out.
Well qualified to speak on both.
Yeah, so he just thinks that Thompson's got it. I'm undecided. I think that a lot will depend if we all know that the second half of that fight on Opetaia, Briedis gave him a hell of a battering that put him out of the ring for a year. And, you look at it now and where did that leave him? Well, not just physically, but also mentally, knowing that those last 6 rounds against Briedis were absolute hell for him. He was standing KO twice, asleep on his shoulder. And Thompson, I think the part that for me is unanswered is, he's at this level. Technically fantastic boxer. So I'll decide close to the time what my opinion is, but my opinion is not so important here. The man who's shared the ring with both, he's picking Thompson.
I guess the question to ask is, what happens immediately after that fight? Regardless of who wins, is it a case of, you fight Briedis now, it's done and dusted?
So we have a ruling from the IBF in writing to all 3 teams. I asked Jordan Thompson and, of course, the world champion, Jay Opetaia, confirming that there's no fights allowed in between. Briedis has that position, and it's direct negotiation, if not a purse bid, straight after that fight. So probably looking at, realistic as a prior, I don't think December, but realistically we're looking at a January fight.
Talking of next in lines and moving up the divisions, it's the big man, Filip Hrgovic, a keen eye. I spoke to him as the fight was going on, as I'm sure you did as well. Oleksandr Usyk beats Daniel Dubois. Filip Hrgovic, instantly, that poster goes out. It's on, let's do it.
People made a lot of like, how can you put that poster straight out after the fight? Well, quite simply, there's one little piece of information maybe I'll share with you all, is that 3 weeks ago we received notice from the IBF, so did Usyk, that this would be the fight. If they both won their fight, i.e. Hrgovic beats McKean and Usyk beats Daniel Dubois, which both happened, that's it, it's on. So the message, don't look at it as like it was some sort of put my fishing rod out and maybe we'll get that fight. No, that fight's been on for a long time. He's won that eliminator a year ago. He's taken a very tough, keep busy, I don't like to call Thompson McKean number 11 in the world, a keep busy fight, but it was it's what Filip wanted. He wanted a tough fight, because he said, if I'm going to get that shot, I can't go in having beaten a bum or a couple of bums on the way. I need that big fight beforehand. He got that. He got 12 rounds in as well. It's a great finish at the end. So then he got a lot of rust off as well. I understand the criticism that people say, oh well, it wasn't the best Hrgovic I've ever seen. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, because he's been waiting 12 months. Why has he been waiting 12 months? He's been waiting 12 months for Fury and Usyk to get a deal on or not. The waiting's over. It's as simple as that. And it's likely the IBF see it that way as well.
So a peek behind the curtain, how do these things tend to play out now? Do we have a rough time limit of when those two can...
I think there'll be a negotiation period for a couple of weeks, and we don't find one that's a purse bid, so that takes us sort of to the end of September, and then you've got it's 90 days, which takes us to the end of December, but realistically it's either end of December or January, around that time as well. It's dictated a lot by what the networks want, what the different site deals are on the table and stuff like that. It's not really it's unfortunately not the boxer's choice, and it's certainly not the promoter's choice. It's where those big bucks can be found that it takes to stage a heavyweight world championship. But to protect that timeline, there is, of course, the purse bid procedure, which is a simple auction for the staging rights of the fight.
Just very quickly, Kalle, before we sign things off, I just want to quickly dip our toe into the Misfits world.
I thought we would. I would expect nonetheless, yes.
You a little viral moment last week, specifically on you, not throwing tables, but catching the items that fly off them.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, there was a few. There was first of all, there was the, you know, I got a lot of these like, how do you, like, there's a mass brawl going on and all you were concentrating on is finding your phone. So quite rightly, people were saying, man, this guy must have something in that phone that, you know, he hasn't deleted his history or something in there, you know. Some naughty pictures in there. No, none of that. No funny contacts in there that I can't find anywhere else in the world. No chats with supermodels on there that I don't want people to see. No. It's my phone. It went flying. John's kicked the table and I'm just looking for my phone. It's a natural reaction. I'm thinking, John's coming over here. He's certainly 100 kilo plus. He stamps on that phone. I've never seen it again. And before that, my watch went flying. So I'm all over the stage, you know, and I didn't mean to ignore the fact that there was cake and whatever being thrown. Got used to that now at Misfits. You know, I've had my dry cleaners think I'm mad anyway. So, you know, fish, rotten fish, pizza, water guns with I don't know what in it. I don't even want to know what was in it. You know, everything. And by the way, it's not just a Misfits thing. Let's not forget, I've got the proud, I think, only promoter on planet Earth that can say I've had 2 tables thrown over him. Going back to Derek Chisora, Dillian White. Fantastic YouTube clip on that as well.
Yeah. Maybe we compare the two. See if your reactions have changed at all.
Who threw the better table, yeah. I think the one thing we've learned, haven't learned as promoters, is maybe bolt down the tables every time. It's unfortunately not always possible. I'm sure John Fury could rip up a nail anyways, you know.
And just finally, we've announced Newcastle. We're on the road again, September 23rd.
You know, and it's a city I love to promote in. I love promoting in the North East, no secret about that. I think we've done about 5 shows there in the last year. That's what it feels like, at least. It's a great city to promote in. It's a very young, vibrant city, and I think that a flavour of Misfits in that young space is perfectly fitting to the city. You know, local boy, Aaron Chalmers, you know, Mr. Geordie Shaw, taking on Idris Virgo, and a stacked card. We've got some fan favourites on there, some phases on there. So, you know, Mam's done a great job on picking those names. This amazing story that started a year ago just goes on and gets bigger and bigger and bigger wherever we go. So, as always, super excited. Give me some very cool parts to the promotion around this event, which also will link, by the way, to the Monster October 14th.
Of course.
Unfortunately, all those tickets did go in absolute world record speed, but we are looking at special giveaways on the night in the venue with tickets around that, you know, and we're going to be probably announcing maybe 1 or 2 undercard fights around that fight week as well. Just getting that sorted right now.
Kalle Sauerland, your big tease. We'll leave it there. It's a hell of a fight week to get through first, so all the best with that. Starts with Lyndon Arthur this Friday, live on Channel 5.
Thank you.